Hi everyone, so today I have a pale skin swatches video for you, and it's about these Wet n Wild loose highlighters. I picked up two of them. I saw them on Trend Mood when they were released and it looked like they were going to be permanent, and I was really excited because there had been two loose highlighters with previous limited edition collections that were just selling out so fast and there was a lot of hype about them. And then these came out and I feel like nobody really was talking about them in the way that they were about the limited edition ones. And I was also excited because it looked like maybe there would be a couple fairly light shades that I could wear during one of the holiday related sales where you could get something like 40% off, and it applied to these highlighters. I went ahead and made a purchase and picked up two shades. I have I'm So Lit, which is kind of a light champagne, and You Glow Girl, which is a little bit more of a pinky base. So what I wanted to do today is just show you swatches kind of on my fingers, on my arm, and then put a few on my cheeks, which is why I'm holding on to this brush and kind of waving it around. So let's look at the swatches first. I have a couple ColourPop loose highlights to compare this to, and also just another loose highlight from JCat. So this is all drugstore loose highlighting powders, which have fast become like my favorite formula to use, and I love them. So let's look at the swatches. Wet n Wild loose highlighting powder in I'm So Lit, ColourPop Luster Dust in Strobe Globe, Wet n Wild highlighting powder in You Glow Girl, ColourPop Luster Dust in Sugar Trap, and JCat Pearl Luminizer. Okay, and so I kept them on my fingers too because I thought it might be a little bit easier to see the colors and the type of finish. So this is Wet n Wild I'm So Lit, and then ColourPop Strobe Globe, Wet n Wild, what's it called? Wet n Wild You Glow Girl, and ColourPop Sugar Trap. And then this is the JCat Pearl Luminizer. Even though I'm very fair, pale, whatever you want to call it, I can get away with slightly darker highlights just because I have a lot of freckles, pigmentation up on the top of my cheeks, which almost acts like built-in bronzer, and it's easier for me to wear slightly darker highlights. So it's easier than someone who is just like super creamy alabaster porcelain skin, where I feel like those color differences are a little bit more noticeable. So there is that to take into consideration. My skin tone is, I have kind of muted yellow undertones. Generally warmer colors work better on my skin tone. Good foundation matches for me are Smashbox Studio Skin Hydrating in 0.1, which is one of the new shades, as well as the Clinique Even Better CN 0.5 Shell, also a new shade, and ColourPop No Filter Foundation in Fair 05. So all of those work quite well on my skin. So before I talk a little bit about the swatch comparisons, I'm just going to put some of these highlights on my face. So I'm going to put the I'm So Lit shade on this side and the You Glow Girl on this side, and we can chat a little bit about it. One thing I will say is that you get so many holes in this. I feel like it's a lot of product to be coming out at once for a highlight. So I get some on my brush and then I try to tap off the excess just so it won't go flying when I put it on my face. And what I really like about loose highlights is how easily they blend, and they don't like catch on those little fine lines. I am 38 and I have, especially when my skin is a little too dry, I can have lots of lines up on the top of my cheeks here that can get really accentuated. So sometimes it's like I plop on way too much of that loose highlight, but then you can just kind of buff it out and buff out the edges, and it's just easy, and they are so reflective. So that's I'm So Lit. I'm just going to use my little dry brush cleaner to get the excess off that brush, and I'll put on the You Glow Girl on the other side. I feel like this is kind of a light warm pink. It's a little bit more just like peachy undertone perhaps. It's not just straight up baby pink. And I am a big fan of the forehead highlight. I always love how they highlight Lucy Liu on Elementary. So this pink doesn't really coordinate with my makeup today, but we'll just go with it. It's not super like in your face, you can't wear it on your nose type pink. You know, you can see that it's pink, but if you have a small amount of it, like for a nose highlight, I don't think it's super noticeable. So I'll just zoom in so you can see how that's sitting on my skin. So it is gonna accentuate texture, like if you have any little bumps. See, I've got a little bump right over here. See if we can get that to pop a little. But I mean, any highlight is really gonna accentuate texture, but I feel like this doesn't grab onto lines in the way that some highlights do. You know, I have more visible pores up on my forehead, got some little bumpy parts there, but I don't know. I like the way it looks, so I don't mind. Yeah, I have a few little bumps over here, maybe you can see. But I feel like it's fine as far as highlights go. It's not, sometimes they can look almost a little crusty. So there isn't a ton on here, so I'm just gonna build it up a tiny bit more to show you how reflective it can get. I am sick and feeling vaguely feverish, so that's why my nose is so red right now. Also, my cheeks are flushing a little bit as well. I'll put a little on my nose, even though my nose is already pretty shiny. I'll just stick a little tiny bit on there. If you like that kind of dewy, almost sweaty looking highlight, which some days I'm totally down for that. A lot of days actually, I'm down for that. I feel like loose highlights are a good way to achieve that look, and it's super easy, and these are all super affordable. So I would say, you know, I would lean towards recommending the Wet n Wild just because it's easier to get. ColourPop loose highlights are only available on the ColourPop website. It's fine if you're already placing an order, but if you are only really interested in those highlights, it makes it a little harder to want to spend the money on shipping, as opposed to being able to get the Wet n Wild highlights from a couple different places. I don't know if these are available only at CVS or at Walgreens. I'll put where you can get them below. So the similarities to the ColourPop highlights, I would say the closest ones really are in formula and texture and color. The Luster Dust in Strobe Globe from ColourPop is really similar to the Wet n Wild I'm So Lit. It's just the ColourPop's just a tiny bit darker. It's a little bit more golden as opposed to kind of champagne leaning. But on the face, I feel like they're both just very reflective, and on my skin tone, on my freckles and everything, they look fairly similar. So I would say if you're really super, super fair, you have a problem with highlights looking too dark on you, then I would definitely lean towards the Wet n Wild, give it a try, or the JCat Pearl Luminizer, because you get an amazing amount of product in this, and it's not going to be too fair because it really is just a pearly white highlight. This one is lovely. It's not the same kind of formula as the Wet n Wild and the ColourPop, but it's It's really pretty, but I do feel like it has a little bit more of a white base to it. So on me, I find sometimes it can look a little too white. But if you're extremely fair and you want something that does not have any sort of yellowy or golden or pink or champagne undertone, I would definitely recommend this, and you get a lot of product and it is very, very affordable. Between the two pink shades, I would definitely recommend the Wet n Wild unless you want glitter, like pieces of glitter. Can you hear today is my now 3-year-old, my second child, the middle child. He turned 3 today. Anyway, he's supposed to be napping, but he is clearly not napping. The ColourPop Luster Dust in Sugar Trap does have, you know, moderately sized glitter in it, and I think it's silver glitter, and then there's that pink shimmery base. So it's not that I'm totally opposed to glitter in highlights. If it's smaller, it's okay maybe, but what I don't like about glitter is that it just goes airborne, and I don't know why glitter specifically does that and these like finely milled but distinct shimmer particles don't. Maybe it's because they're so small, I don't know. There's something just about glitter that I put it on and I'm trying to buff it in, and I can see those little silver chunks of glitter like flying off, and all of a sudden I have glitter in my eyebrow and up on my forehead in a random spot and in my hair, and it just gets everywhere. So I like it. I just feel like I can't control the glitter in the way I want. So it might be something that you could like try applying with a sponge or something like that. Something to kind of stamp down that glitter and not get it everywhere. But overall, I mean, I would recommend all of these. I think they're all lovely options, and I was so excited to get the Wet n Wild highlights, and I've been wearing them a ton just because they are so pretty. They're easy to use. You can go super duper extremely reflective on them, and I love that. It's not hard. It doesn't accentuate the lines on my face in a really major way. So yeah, I'm a really big fan and highly recommend them. So anyway, I'm getting a little fatigued talking here. So I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. Let me know if you are thinking about picking these up, or if you have tried them already and what you thought and what shades you have tried. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. Please do subscribe if you aren't already, and turn on notifications if you want to get a notification every time I upload the video. I have no idea how to wrap up this video. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.